that card.
No, I'm not saying Treasure Hunt's
No,
bad.
I'm just saying,
card,
like, you just mentioned it, and it makes me like wistful for the past when Treasure Hunt was worth playing. But it looks like we got our matchup. Paul Longo playing Valakut. She's a little bit early, a little early with the Valakut list, versus Ian Richter playing Mono Red. So maybe he just didn't realize Jason Stoneforge were still legal today. I don't know. No, Valakut's still a good deck.
It's one of the most powerful things you could do.
Yeah. I know Joey Mispagel actually won in Memphis with Valakut against Edgar Flores playing Clawblade just back in March. So it's still as good, especially when people aren't really preparing for it.
Yeah, you need a bunch of counter spells.
Yeah.
And if you don't have flash freezes in your sideboard, you just get rolled.
Right.
So you also do, like, if you don't get paired against the Clawblade decks or the blue decks, you do really well. Because non-blue decks just get rolled.
Yeah. It's such a strong strategy, but now that we have things like Surgical Extraction, typically not that great of a card, but against a combo deck, it seems so good. So, like, I kind of wonder, that's one of the major reasons I think that Valakut will be held in check, at least, if not. I don't think it's going to be completely gone or anything, but I think that holds it in check. Now, I don't know if if enough people are running Surgical Extraction right now. It seems good against Splinter Twin too, so it's playable right now in this.
It's definitely a playable card. I actually don't even think it's bad against Clawblade if you're playing discard spells. Like taking a Stoneforge and Surgical Extracting it seems really strong to me.
Yeah. Well, it just turns the deck into Cargo, right? Cargo with.
I mean, it doesn't even do that much because if they don't have one in their hand, you don't even get any value. But
so
Stoneforge's just so broken.
So, speaking of Valakut, we have not the namesake of the deck, but Primeval Titan being pretty much. When I think of Valakut, I think of Primeval Titan. I don't even think of the card Valakut, but it looks like we're getting the Titans back in M12. We've at least seen. We've had Inferno Titan. We know Primeval Titan is being reprinted. It's in the Wizards card gallery. Like, how do you feel about the Titans coming back?
I'm sure they'll all be good from time to time. I think Primeval Titan is going to be one of the most powerful cards in Extended for a very long time. But I don't know if Primeval Titan is going to be as strong in Standard once we lose Valakut, for example. Inferno Titan, depending on the average toughness of creatures that are getting played, it might just be the most insane thing ever.
Yeah.
But it could also end up just not being great as it has been at times when people go big mana, in which case Frost Titan becomes ridiculous.
Right.
And, Frost Titan isn't really that good against like a really aggressive metagame, which is when Sun Titan and Grave Titan become absurd.
Specifically Grave Titan, I really love that.
At every point in, no matter how the metagame looks, if you want to be casting a big hefty 6-drop,
there's one available,
there's going to be a Titan available for you.
It is pretty nuts how they design those. They design them in a strange way. Like, I always picture it with, like, Primeval Titan, kind of, it's like a wheel, right? But Primeval Titan is, like, in the center. It's kind of always good. It's not really good in certain metagames necessarily. It's just kind of always good. But the rest of them are always, it's like just this wheel rotates.
It's like cyclical.
Right, it's like, okay, Inferno Titan's the best. But then the wheel turns, and then, Grave Titan is the best, and then the wheel turns in Sun Titan. It just seems like the Frost Titan. It's just fantastic how they did that, where it's like when one's good, or besides Primeval Titan, when one of the other four is good, the others really aren't that good. But that keeps changing. It's really, really kind of interesting design. But so for those of you just joining us, I'm Joey Pasco.
And I'm Jacob Van Lunen.
And we're in Baltimore watching Round 7 of the Star City Games Open Series. Ian Richter on the left, leading with a turn 1 Mountain into Goblin Guide.
And Paul reveals an Overgrown Battlement, telling Ian that he's playing Valakut after playing that Valakut.
Yeah, and if that weren't clear, he plays a Valakut. So, Goblin Guide in with a Arid Mesa for Paul. And a Kiln Fiend from Ian.
And Ian is playing a a middle-of-the-road red list. It's in between the two others we've seen.
Right. It's not quite Patrick Sullivan red, but it's not quite like mid-rangey exactly.
He has 23 lands as opposed to 24 or 20. He has shrines. He's only playing 3 4-drops. They're all costs. He doesn't have heroes. He doesn't have main deck crushes, but he doesn't have any main deck mana vandals either.
Yeah. Which is actually good for him in this matchup, since those would all be dead cards, pretty much. Manic Vandal would just be a dude. So Paul adds a forest to the board alongside an Overgrown Battlement.
Now Ian is, on the Kiln Fiend plan. Kiln Fiend is one of my favorite cards. So Ian double spells to get rid of the Overgrown Battlement, and then bashes for 9. He drops Paul down to 6.
Wow, that was a huge, huge turn for Ian.
And using those burn spells, using 2 spells to get rid of Paul's Overgrown Battlement, in a lot of situations that may not seem like it's the greatest thing, but when you have a Kiln Fiend in play, each one of those spells that you're using also translates into 3 damage to Paul's face.
Yeah.
And that gives you a lot more value.
Now, does he have, he does not. I was wondering if he had Flame Slash. That'll be something, the more Valakut we see in the metagame, the more Flame Slashes we see, because it would have been pretty sick if he would have been able to Flame Slash that battlement and then, either save the other burn spell or just use it on Paul's.
Just dome him,
yeah, to the face. So, but Ian adds, a Spike Shot Elder to the board. Paul just adds an Overgrown Battlement and passes back to Ian. Ian is now Alpha Strike with the
now
Spike Shot
Paul
Elder.
made a very dangerous play here in blocking the Goblin Guide. If Ian has any spell, he'll kill his opponent.
I'm a little confused. What did that Overgrown Battlement block? It looked like the Goblin Guy, but then it looked like he moved it in front of the Kiln Fiend.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he realized the error in his ways. He's at 1 now, though. His opponent has the Spike Shot in play, so.
Yeah.
But this does give him an opportunity to play an Obstinate Baloth or something like that, and perhaps get out of the woods free.
Or just hope his opponent misplays here. I mean, does he have? He has a fetch. Okay.
Yeah.
No, but he adds a mountain.
Oh, he can't pop the fetch. He's at 1.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Explore.
Now.
I mean, what is he hoping to explore into, really?
I don't know. Does he have? No, he doesn't. That's it.
Yeah. So going to game 2. Ian takes game 1 in very mono red fashion.
Yeah, classic red.
Yeah.
Turn 1 Goblin Guide. How red.
Yeah. So yeah, what happens when you have the Goblin Guide and the Grim Lavamancer in your opener? What do you and like say double fetch land?
Goblin Guide. You always lead on Goblin Guide.
Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting because I think Goblin Guide is probably the best aggressive creature red has ever had.
Absolutely, yeah.
Ever.
I think so too, yeah.
And Lavamancer is also one of the best creatures red has ever had.
Right.
I think for aggressive decks, for decks that are attacking with creatures and burn spells, I think those are probably the 2 best red creatures of all time. And you're going to be able to play them in Standard at the same time with Lightning.
What, 3 months? Yeah. What do we got? August, September, so 2.5 months. Half of July. Yeah, that's just nuts. I mean, and then we have, Goblin Grenade coming back. Goblin Grenade. That's not, and we have Fling coming back, which, it's been around, but I'm just, Goblin Grenade kind of made me think of Fling too, but man, you could really have some
Goblin Grenade's fun.
Yeah,
you can blow things up. That's a lot of damage.
It really is. I mean,
I've lost that card many times.
When's the last time that was legal? Was it? I mean, it was just in Fallen Empires. Was it in anything else?
I haven't been goblin grenaded since I was 14.
Yeah,
I don't think.
since the 90s.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just seems really, really cool. And did you see the artwork on it? It's just, I mean, it's always fun to see the artwork on a goblin grenade, but you know, it's just, you know, obviously a goblin kind of just flying through the air with. I think he's like packed with explosives or something. It's nice and silly, like the goblin should be.
One of the interesting things about Fallen Empire is how all the cards have different artwork. All the different goblin grenades.
Yeah, they had multiple kinds. So even like look at High Tide, you know, it's got.
You see like different High Tides from the same set, all different art.
Same with like Hymn to Torok.
I like the wolf hymn.
The wolf hymn, and
I've always been a wolf hymn kind of guy.
The one where it looks like they're doing kind of like a ritual, like an overhead shot.
Yeah.
That's my favorite, but I know a lot of people like the wolf one. And then there's like the one with two people like sitting at a table or something.
They're.
And then there's that one with just the guy with the big cape. I want to say
the orb thing.
Yeah. Like
the mustachioed master.
Right. Yeah, I think he's. I think that's Quentin Hoover, and I don't know who did the wolf one or the table one, but any of the other ones, like Liz Danforth is the artist on the one, like the overhead shot with the people around, like standing in a circle or something. But yeah,
the wolf one is. I'm drawing a blank now. It's the same guy. It's like the same guy who did Spirit of the Wolf and stuff. They're like, oh, this guy draws a good wolf.
Yeah, have him draw more
this
wolves.
Gull. I don't know. So, going to game 2 here. Oh, Paul is playing Valakut, so you know he's pretty good against red decks post board. It's not like it used to be where you were good against red decks pre board also, but
yeah. So he's got Slag Storm in there. He's got 2 extra Obstinate Bailouts in addition to the 1 he already has main deck.
Lightning Bolts.
Lightning Bolts, Summoning Trap not coming in. Not likely.
Not likely, I don't think. He gets to take out his Oracles and his Nature's Claims.
Susan Van Camp does the wolf. All right.
Ooh, Susan Van Camp.
Yeah, so what does Ian want to bring in, really?
Active Aggression.
Yeah, that's about it.
I think that's it.
Yeah. Then Dismember is good against a Overgrown Battlement if that's what he wants to do. But Paul leads on Terramorphic Expanse. Ian leads on Mountain Go, which is slightly less aggressive than the Goblin Guide opening that you'd want, but...
Yeah, one of the things that has scared me most in Magic is turn 1 Goblin Guide. I've had many round 1 losses to the turn 1 Goblin Guide.
Yes. The funny thing is sometimes you just like thinking, I can leave that there, right? I don't need to deal with that exactly. I could kill like something else or things. No, you just gotta kill it.
Yeah, you just like have to get it right away.
And a Valakut from Paul. Ian adds a second mountain and a Kiln Fiend.
Now,
thanks to ex post facto MTG on Twitter for the Susan Van Camp info, by the way.
Now, Paul's going to go ahead and tap these 3 lands. I think he's going to go ahead and Slag Storm away this Kiln Fiend.
Yeah, well, that's a really dangerous creature, so I can see why you'd want to spend a Slag Storm on that. Especially that kind of Ian doesn't have a very aggressive start, it seems.
All right, so is Paul going to explore here?
Looks like he's considering it. But Ian
may
just
also consider a Zenith for a...
Dryad Arbor's not legal.
Well, he had Zenith for Overgrown Battlement by tapping out.
Yeah. So he goes with a Colony Heart Expedition. Ian, meantime, added an Ember Hauler to his side of the board. And now he gets in with it.
Paul's going to drop down to 18. Ian decides it's just safe enough to pass the turn. Paul may want to. Okay.
So he adds a mountain to the board and adds a counter to the expedition.
And he's going to Green Sun Zenith for 4. And this is going to go and grab him an Obstinate Baloth.
Seems good. Yep, there it is. Gain 4 life.
So he pops back up to 22 and has a massive board advantage.
I mean, it seems like just that spell just swung the entire game in Paul's favor. Like, Ian not only just loses the value he had, the damage he had already done, but now he has to deal with that, waste burn spells on that. And it's not like he has a Kiln Fiend to capitalize on using double burn spells on the blocker this time. But
so he's going to go ahead and drop Paul to 17 there, I think, right?
Is that what it was? Didn't he? What did he do?
Searing Blaze.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's what it was. Okay. Searing Blaze, Burst Lightning. Yeah, it dropped him to 17.
He's going to have to explore here.
Searing Blaze, though, is a pretty good way to get some of that value back. Being able to use it on the creature and on Paul.
Searing Blaze is an incredible card.
Yeah.
That was another card I was somewhat surprised to see with a friend.
Paul adds a second Colney Heart Expedition to the board and just passes back to Ian. Ian plays his 4th mountain and appears to get him with the Amber Hauler.
So Paul drops down to 15. And he goes ahead and goes Spike Shot Elder. Passes the turn back to Paul.
Spike Shot Elder for Ian.
Paul draws that much needed second green source that he's looking for. It's also a fetch land. That's going to let him Primeval Titan and get a. I guess he can first search for Mountain. Then his Primeval Titan will get Valakut Mountain, and then he can crack the thing, and then he can do 18 divided as he chooses and have a Primeval Titan in play. Paul's going to go ahead. He's going to cast Primeval Titan.
Two mountains. And is that 4 mountains now? Yeah. Colony Heart Expeditions tick up. That is probably game at this point. I mean, Paul's at 14 life. It's going to be tough for Ian to knock him down from 14 in one turn. Yeah, Ian decides the same thing.
Just packs it in. That seems completely reasonable there.
So going to game 3 here. Split between 1 game each here, and this time Ian will be on the play. Should be good for the red deck. But for those of you just joining us, I'm Joey Pasco here in the booth with JVL. We are in Baltimore at the StarCityGames.com Open Series. We're in round 7 of 10 today. We have kind of a historic atmosphere where Callblade is making its final showing at an Open Series tournament before it goes the way of the artifact lands, I'll say. The last time we had bannings in Standard, it was all about artifact lands, and this time it's all about guys that can get artifacts. Whether tutoring or digging for them. So it's
being all sorts of unfair.
Absolutely, yeah. And last time we had bannings, it was a Mirrodin block. This time we have bannings. It's a Mirrodin block. Oddly though, the cards aren't from Mirrodin block. So, but the cards that push them over the top are. So you know, kind of a couple ways you can look at that. Basically, I think this may be the last time we see Mirrodin for a while. Especially considering it's now, I guess, new Phyrexia. So there's no such thing as Mirrodin. I don't know.
Oh, it's now new Phyrexia? Yeah, you're right. It's all about the Phyrexians.
Absolutely. I'm glad to see the Phyrexians back. I was really excited to hear that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've always been a fan of the Phyrexians.
Gotta love those big villains, you know, the kind of the ones that just...
I always wish I had a Phyrexian processor so that I could,
yeah.
you know, so I didn't have to do my homework. I could just
make copies.
I could just make a processor token, you know.
I think it costs
Dreams.
Costs a lot of life. You know, you gotta like cut yourself or something to make those copies. Seems a little bit painful. I don't know if I can handle being a Phyrexian.
Maybe it's like just like different in different like planes though, you know? Here in order to do it you have to, you know, like eat 3 pieces of pizza. And it's like, oh man, that's so many calories. I guess I'll have to do it.
Right, so I can make copies of myself. So I talked to Glenn earlier. He was saying how, you know, there is a lot of Callblade decks out there, but he feels like he's seeing kind of a lot of decks that, you know, that he didn't expect to really see. Or just seeing a lot less call than he realized. Like, it's still obviously out there, but interesting, you know. I don't know. It was a weird kind of situation coming in today. I didn't know what to expect. I kind of expected a lot on the one hand just because it's the last chance here. But at the same time, like, I thought, you know, maybe there's other people out there that they're like, I'm not playing Callblade for any reason, and I want to build like a new deck, and also maybe I want to, you know,
start practicing on my new deck.
Right, start doing that. I was talking to Patrick Chapin, and
thank you.
He, you know, he brought up the good point that hey, the guys out there that have been trying to beat Callblade with their brews, this is their last chance to prove that they can do it. You know? So I mean, that's an interesting way to look at it too. There's all those brewmasters out there. They're like, I can beat Callblade. It didn't need to be banned. You know? And you know, maybe some of those elves list actually are capitalizing on the lack of hate.
Oh yeah, and I mean that deck does very well against Callblade, but I just don't know if it'll be able to handle all the arc trails and fork bolts that'll be running amok. The new format.
It's going to be interesting, but it is certainly a brewmaster's delight in this new format. So we're going to just get a chance
2-week long format. See if we can brew faster than big. Let's go.
But not even that. But you know, just the 2-week long format, but then plus M12. I mean, it's going to be. We're shaken up in a number of ways. We're getting a whole bunch of stuff, and we're losing 2 pillars of the format. It's kind of like a version of rotation early, right?
Definitely. So Ian Mulligan down to 6. He's pondering whether or not to keep. He decides not to. And he's going down to 5 cards.
Yikes.
That's a pretty cool playmat that Paul has there.
Yeah, what is it? Yeah, it's from the 2010s. I know they only gave those out for limited tournaments, but covering up the face there of the of the one character you can see, but the dragon in the background. Yeah.
Now, Valakut's one of these decks that we should probably talk about a little bit because once Jace is gone, Valakut's probably going to be top dog.
Yeah.
Now, something we've seen a lot recently in Valakut decks that have been successful is Nature's Claim. In Orlando, we saw a Valakut deck make its top 8. It played 4 copies in the main. And here we have a Valakut deck near the very top of the standings who's also playing 4 copies of Nature's Claim. Are both these players undefeated?
We'll see if we can find out if these guys are undefeated.
I mean, that seems to be a common theme. Now, once Caw-Blade goes away, I don't know if you need that anymore.
I don't think so at all, really. I mean,
but that's good against
sideboard,
Splinter Twin, too.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Splinter Twin,
true,
you're
yeah.
kind of just crossing your fingers when you're playing Valkyrie
Right.
anyway. Because when you can tap out and play Primeval Titan, you can't not tap out to play your Primeval Titan, right?
Right. I mean, and that just leaves you wide open. That's it. You know what I mean? Tap out. Like, if I'm playing Splinter Twin, I'm fine with you tapping out to play that Primeval Titan because it's going to be
I'll kill
irrelevant.
you, yeah.
I'm just going to kill you. So, Ian mulling to 4. Wow. Again, not good for a red deck. We were saying that earlier. They don't have many ways to get those cards back.
I mean, he could still have the, one of those red draws where, if he's got a couple Goblin Guides and some lands. No, he does not.
So he has
Right now,
just Mountain, and Paul has Colney Heart Expedition. Ian, oh no, triple Mountain, nothing. This may be over really soon. I mean, unless Paul has Stone Cold nothing.
yeah, Paul really just needs to have nothing for this game to not end very quickly.
A second Colney Heart Expedition, a Terramorphic Expanse for Paul.
Yeah, those Colony Art Expeditions can just kill your opponent.
Yeah, it's funny. They seem so, non-threatening, but no, they. All it takes is a Valakut on board, and suddenly those things are lethal. Ember Hauler from Ian, which is his first spell of the game. Paul cracks Terramorphic Expanse, ticking those Colney Heart Expeditions up to 2 counters each.
Now, he's going to, he is such a stranglehold in this game that it's really just...
It's kind of a foregone conclusion, really.
Yeah.
And an Obstinate Bailoff. That'll make things easier for Ian, right? To scoop. I mean, what do you do here? Jace bounce?
It does not seem very good. At the end of his opponent's turn, if he has the Primeval, he can tutor that up. Or tutor up the 2 lands he needs. And then after he tutors up those 2 mountains, so when he casts the Primeval Titan, all he has to do is search up 2 Valakuts.
Valakut, yeah.
And then he has access to the huge amounts of damage. Like right now, he could, again, 18 his opponent.
I mean, Ian has played a single spell, and he can't even attack. So, expeditions tick up to 4. And Oracle of Moldiah for Paul, revealing Overgrown Battlement.
Huh. Now, Oracle will Die is not a card you'd expect to see in this matchup after board. Maybe he knows something we don't.
Maybe not, but there's an Overgrown Battlement added to Paul's side of the board. And he swings with Obstinate Bailoff. Is he just trying to let Ian stay in the game a little bit? He probably not, but
I think he's prepared to close this one out.
So Ember Huller blocks, and then blocks the Bailoff, and then sacks to kill the Oracle of Moldiah. And now Ian has a cough. Not long for this world, though, that cough.
No, he is not.
And he untaps a mountain and swings. So Paul says, yeah, I'll go to 20. I mean, he might as well.
Yeah.
If he
Go
wants
back to
to,
his
he
starting
certainly
life
can
total.
block if he wants, but...
I believe Ian's tapped out, so Paul wins.
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta wonder, like, why are they still playing?
I mean, I guess Ian has no idea if his opponent has Primeval or not.
And here,
Or
is this Green
Zenith.
Sun Zenith? Yeah, it's Green Sun Zenith for Primeval Titan. That's just kill you. Primeval Titan, get 2 lands. Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna get 2 Valakutes and then sacrifice those and get mountains. And there you have it. Paul Longo takes round 7 versus Ian Richter. And we're gonna take a quick break.